Everyone seems to have their own poached eggs tips and tricks, but no one seems to really explain you the fundamentals. How does it work with poached eggs? Why? Now, what's the chemistry behind making poached eggs successfully every time? What's the real poached egg secrets? Now, by the end of this video, you will realize that everything you ever heard about poached eggs was a guesstimation at its best. You will see it's simple, it's achievable, no extreme techniques and no special equipment is needed, and all your questions will be answered. It will all make sense to you when it comes to poached eggs. It forms and it shapes them together. Now, my name is Walterr Trupp. I used to manage, own and run some of the best restaurants in Europe, and now I run my own cooking school. And first, a few basics. Now, before you start making a poached eggs, you need super fresh eggs. Fresh seasoned eggs have a more viscous egg white, which helps to keep together when you add it to the water. And did I mention that your eggs should be fridge cold? No? Well, you need fresh cold eggs, and then you need a pot with boiling hot water. To that you add some cheap white vinegar, and it's approximately a cup to 2.5 liters of water, but I'll tell you much more about that in a minute. Now, before I even start, I'm gonna have my own little chef tantrum of the day. You know, the whirling thing. I mean, whoever came up with something as stupid as that. It doesn't work. It actually does the opposite. It interrupts the egg white. It pulls the egg white away from the yolk. It achieves the opposite of what you wanted to do. It's a waste of your time. It's amateur, and you and I are no amateurs. Now imagine chefs poaching 40 eggs plus, and at the same time they wouldn't know anymore what's going on, because they would have to whirl here and whirl over there and whirl here. I mean, you don't want to have to be gone out the night before and had a few drinks, otherwise the whole whirling might just sort of turn your stomach around, isn't it? Now, when the water boils, it bubbles, you know that, because air gets trapped into those microscopic grooves of the bottom of the pot. And when the water boils, those little air bubbles release themselves in form of tiny gas explosions. We call it a rolling boil. The hot water comes up, it pulls the cold water down. And shortly before the water will boil, you will start seeing that moving upwards, where little air bubbles rising in straight lines from the bottom to the top, basically bringing hot water up, pulling cold water down. You see, and there is your natural whirlpool, just 10 times better, natural and gentle. Now, if your water is too cold and you start putting your eggs in it, they will stick to the bottom of the pot. And next, the vinegar. I know it's the most confusing part of the whole poached egg things, but I promise you, not any longer. Now, vinegar reduces the pH of the water, making it more acidic. Changing the pH of the water helps cooking the proteins in the egg, similar to what the heat does. It's just a bit in a slightly bit different way. The vinegar encourages the surface of the egg white to set really quickly. Basically, an outside skin forms on the egg white, and it prevents the egg whites from feathering out into the water or spreading white before they coagulate. There's an even better thing going on in there, because when the proteins are in contact with vinegar or acid, it will make the proteins curl up. Now, boiling hot water is the other thing, because it shocks the protein, and that together with the vinegar will create that perfect shaped poached egg. Do you see that? And then the water keeps coming up, and there's your whirlpool thing out of the window, and vinegar is the one you need, and boiling hot water. So let's do it. Vinegar, boiling hot water, then lower the temperature and wait for a few seconds. Sometimes you might see there's some air bubble lines coming up. And then they crack the egg open into a cup. The cup will help you to break the surface of the water when you put the eggs in. straight away increase the heat and more eggs go in and more eggs go in. I want to make sure that they don't stick to the bottom, so I keep the temperature high. Now I know you're gonna say once you fish them out they're gonna taste really strong after vinegar, and that's true, but what chefs do, they put them into fresh water for 15 or 20 minutes and that will wash out all the vinegar flavor. I'll tell you more about that in a second. How do I check them? Well, if I lift them out and they barely can hold together, they're obviously undercooked. So what I do, I take my thumb, I relax my thumb, yeah? See that? And then I press right on the palm. So that's approximately what I need. So then I know the egg white is perfectly cooked and the egg yolk is still soft. If it's harder, it's overcooked. Standard cooking time, it's approximately 3 minutes. The next, out into the fresh water. Now at home, if you want to serve them straight away, make sure your water is sort of around 40 to 50 degrees Celsius hot, and then you can put the eggs straight in there while you make your toast and do your avocados or everything else. The vinegar flavor will have gone. Did you really think chefs cooks poached eggs to order? It wouldn't be very organized. Could you imagine the mess? 50 poached eggs in order. I mean, all the whirling, you know what I mean? You need 20 pots, you need 20 timers, loads of stove space, and probably a few chefs. And you would not know anymore what's going on. No. Chefs, what they do, they pre-poach the eggs, and when you order them, they reheat them just like you will do from now on. How? Well, if you had them in your fridge, you know, you put them in an airtight container and lay them on a bit of kitchen paper, and you can store them in there for up to a week. Then you pour some water into your kettle, you bring that to the boil, you pour that into a pot or into a bowl, you put the eggs in there and you let them sit in there for 5 to 6 minutes, and they will be perfectly hot. As long as they don't get above 70 degrees, they will be perfect, because above 70 degrees the egg yolk will start to harden. So that's what they do in the restaurants. They put them in a water bath below 70 degrees. You order it, they fish it out. A quick haircut, chefs love doing that, and you wonder why they look so perfect. I mean, if you don't want to waste the egg white, just fold it under the eggs, and here we go. So quickly, a few more questions you might have, which is, can you poach more eggs in the same water? Yes, chefs do that all the time. They bring the water back to the boil, and then they repeat the whole process with fresh eggs again and again. And why can I not boil the water during poaching? Well, the proteins, when they get too much heat, they will harden. In case of eggs, they become quite chewy. So your poached eggs would get an unpleasant chewy texture. Oh, did you see that? Perfect poached eggs, and they taste absolutely delicious. Mal full of egg. Look forward to seeing you next time. It is delicious. That's just so good. Okay, check out my video on how to make chocolate eclairs, where you learn loads more stuff with cooking with eggs. And thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. I know, life's hard sometimes.